Okay, let me briefly look up the calendar.
Okay.
For Sign of the 12th.
This week in Sigil is the week of the Grand Games.
Okay. When is the... There's some, like, big City of Brass celebration. And I'm trying to remember when that is. At Freedy's Court.
Yeah, that's about... That's about 8 weeks away.
Yeah, we have to get back before that. So a month is fine. Longer than that, we're pushing it.
She says, let's put it this way. Does your business involve any heads of state, faction high-ups, etc., etc.? Like, is there pressing business? Are you here to foil an assassination attempt? Is anybody important going to die or be detained if your business is lost?
Kelian thinks about
Elsie,
What about the opposite of that?
Elsie, everybody would be able to hear Elsie Clone's foot thumping against the floor.
Getting a good beat out of it.
Like, no, like Elsie Clone's thought process is no, but this is there are people that are suffering right now, and the more we delay here, the longer they're having problems.
Okay.
But he's not voicing that.
So she says, the reason I'm obligated to ask, and I really wish I could skip this step, they don't understand the pressures of being on Mechanus. They put down all these orders that come in from Sigil, complicating life. Here's the reason I must ask, is if Factal Hashkar has any reason to believe that you're here in the capacity of the Fraternity of Order or one of the factions of the Fraternity of Order's allies, I have to make sure you spend as little time serving a sentence as possible. But since we don't have any members of the Fraternity of Order here, that doesn't seem to be the case. That's good. That makes my life a little easier. Very well.
Well, Elsa pipes up. Factal Hashkar is decidedly against slavery, yes?
She says that I'm sure I don't know what Factal Hashkar is for and against. Never met the man, never want to. He works in another branch of the government, not interested in his personal philosophies on the ills and evils of the multiverse.
Well, what about you?
And she's, oh yes, let's, by all means, take a break from the work. And she closes up her book, slides it to the side. By all means, let's have a conversation about morality.
All I'm asking is, what do you think?
No, see, I was being sarcastic. I don't want to actually have a This is hopeless. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to argue that the only charge of any potential danger to the plane of Mechanus or to the Modrons therein, blah, 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 is the unlawful discharge of magic, that none of the magic in question was hostile in nature, and that the only element of guilt here is that you decided to not take the time to review this information while you're in Automata, and instead conduct field tests when you arrive on Mechanus. So we're going to have that charge reduced to something lesser. I'm going to see if I can get you into the beautification project. You should be on your way in a matter of weeks.
Oh,
Weeks we can do. Months we can't. And don't make the assumption that when I say we can't do months, we can actually do months.
Yeah, no bones about it. Months cannot be on the table.
And she says, none of you are in the position to say the word cannot. Would that I were in that position. I too am not. And as she begins gathering up all her materials, and she says, it's been a pleasure to meet you all.
Likewise.
If you have need of me, you won't have need of me. If you have need of me, just understand that you don't actually have need of me. Nothing that I can do will help you from here on out. Just I'll see you in the courtroom. Goodbye. And she begins gathering up all her things.
Is there anything we can do to help you?
Don't break any more freaking laws.
You make it sound so easy.
What are those laws again?
And she just sighs as she walks past Mahogany. Tells the Tridrones outside, it's alright, we're done. You can turn the scryers back on. Door clicks, opens up. She steps out. Door closes.
Well, that's interesting.
Clicks again. So how do you all spend the next few hours? Probably
Looking for
another day or
scryers.
so. Looking for scryers? How do you do this?
I'm just going to meditate in the center of the room, trying to figure out where scryers would be placed, such that they'd be able to see the entire room.
Okay. So you're essentially asking where would you put them?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to...
There's any number of places that would work. I mean, this commons room is pretty large. It's just the table with 6 chairs around it, a couple of sofas beyond that. The only other features of the room are the doors. The 4 doors leading to your sleeping quarters, the one that's locked leading out, and then the dumbwaiter cavity on the opposite side of the room where your foodstuffs are brought up through. I mean, you could put a scrying sensor in any of the 4 corners of this room and have an excellent view of everything going on.
Doing
So-
push-ups, getting swole.
What kind of escape attempts happen over the course of the next 8 or 9 hours?
None from Ciclon.
Okay.
I feel the need to point that out.
At the end of that
Because-
time, the slat of the door opens up to beady little eyes of the Tridrone peering in, and it calls out and says, "Prisoners, your attendance at the door is requested."
Bucky stands up, walks over to the door.
Kelian obliges.
Yep.
Bear with me 1 second. And it feeds through a slip of paper. A small scroll rolled up. And it hands it
Roll
to Ciclon. And then it slides the slat shut.
Roll the scroll. Take a look at it.
And it is the finalized charges after Lois had done her work. The finalized charges have been reduced to unlawful disregard of automata reference procedures.
Oh, fair enough.
What's the sense on that?
No sentencing information is available on this paper. That's what she got you guys down to.
Good. That way, if they can kill us, there's only one reason for them to do it.
You're called to the trial 2 days later.
Can I get a long rest in on this during this time?
Yes,
Okay, I'm going to take
easily
2.
enough.
I need to try and get some of these these things to recharge, and no on both counts.
Everybody give me a Constitution saving throw again, please.
Fail.
Oh, nat 20.
What do we have to hit?
What did you get?
12.
12?
Elsicle got a 6. That's why I'm like. Actually, no. Elsicle got a 4. That's why I said fail.
What did Riot get? Did we lose Riot?
Riot's hand is over near this 3.
It's 3.
Was it? Am I muted?
You were
Yeah, it
muted.
looks like
are,
you were
okay.
muted. Yeah.
I have no idea why it's muted. Yeah, I got a 3.
Okay, so was Kelian got a 12 and Riot got a 3. What did Mahogany get?
I got a nat 20, so...
Nat 20, you're fine.
Elsicle got a 4.
Got a 4. Everybody but Mahogany wakes up in the cell that next night.
Elsicle
Black
rolls
brick
his eyes
cell.
and says, Elsicle rolls his eyes and says, "Oh boy, this again."
This is Kelian and Riot's first trip to the cell.
Yeah.
And it looks
This
just
again?
like they described to you the other night, the ordeal
Oh,
that they
right,
went
this
through.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, this again.
This time, though, none of you are bound. The chains are still there on the ground, 5 of them in total, but none of you are bound to them. You just kind of wake up slouched against the wall of this cell.
Kelian, give me a leg up.
Sure.
I'm gonna see if produced flame will work in the dream.
And you go try to produce flame, and the magic does not function.
Okay.
Kelian, give me a leg up to that bar. I'm going to go for it. 1, 2, 3. Hup. Try and grab it.
Kelian plays along.
Okay? And standing on Kelian's arms, you reach up on your tippy toes, and if you were to jump, you could probably grab the bars. If you were
Yes,
to,
that's exactly what I'm doing.
and you do, you grab hold of the bars, and now you're swinging from them, and you wrestle them as much as you can. But this door would open outward, and you don't have any way to leverage yourself against it. Even if you did, it would be locked.
Elsicle lets out a breath and says, "Maybe I." You don't have any lockpicks on you, do you, Kelian?
I don't know if I can pick a lock upside down and hanging.
You don't have your equipment anyway.
Okay.
Well then, Elsicle drops back to the floor.
Kelian catches him.
Okay.
Aw. I didn't know you cared.
He does, and then you hug,
Yeah.
and Riot feels left out.
Come here, Riot. Bring it in.
Ah,
So now,
Before
Dream,
long,
it's okay.
the
now
shadowy
now for the harrowing flames. Here we go.
Before long, the shadowy form reappears that Ciclon recognizes and looks down at all of you. And he says,
Why are you harassing us?
he looks at Ciclon, and he asks, who are the Sultry Seven?
Elsicle says nothing. You already got the answer.
Looks at the other two of you.
I've never heard of them before in my life.
Riot says, I don't know, but judging by, if I had to guess by this whole setup, I would say that they're one of the other members of Aunt Nancy's game.
And now he's looking at Riot. And who is Aunt Nancy?
And it says, you tell me what it looks like for you, and I'll tell you what it looks like for me.
And he asks, who is Duke Gransterius?
Never heard of him.
Probably one of the other people on the other teams.
Now he's looking between Riot and Kelian.
Ciclon,
He pulls a bag into your field of vision, and he shakes it a few times, and you hear it's filled with coin.
Are you a god
And he
by
says-
any chance?
You ask if he's a god,
Yeah.
and his eyes narrow at him. And he asks, who are the Middle Bob Company? And he's jangling this bag of coin.
Kelian lets out a laugh. You are a god, aren't you?
Oh, I
brace
get
yourself. Brace yourself, guys.
The Middlebod Company are one of the other teams in Aunt Nancy's game.
And he's looking around at all of you. And he asks, who is Serenity?
Oh.
So
Kelian
it's one
stops
of us.
grinning.
You say one of us?
Mm-hmm.
Who is Bobrick Boldbone? Nobody?
Probably one of the Middlebobs? I don't know. It doesn't really ring a bell.
You say probably one of the Middle Bobs?
Yeah.
You sure you're lying to him?
Who is it?
Bobrick Boldbone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bobrick.
That's his name.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's your Aethar guy.
Oh no, then Kelian doesn't say anything.
Nobody says anything?
Yeah.
He asks,
Riot just says, listen, I'm sorry, but I don't think we can help you.
who is Xanthes?
Don't face.
Doesn't really ring a bell.
Sorry that you've been marked, but that's the way the game goes.
Reaches into the bag, pulls out a coin, drops it into your cell, lands in the middle. Platinum coin. And he says again, who is Serenity?
Don't face.
So you just stonewall the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he cycles through his questions. The Sultry Seven, Duke Gransterius, who is the Middle Bob Company. And then he names the other members of your company that he has not met. Telephone. I gotta take this one, guys. I'll be right back.
Alright.
He names the telephone.
Who is Peanut?
What are the numbers?
Yeah, guys, here we go. Get ready to mash the circle button. Or Meryl dies.
I have pretty good charisma saves. I'm not worried at all.
I have a charisma save of -2.
All right, so my wife just butt dialed me. There was nobody even there. Anyway, he cycles back through his questions. And when he sees that none of you are answering, the figure disappears with his bag. And a few moments later, gives you a few minutes in the cell alone.
Mm-hmm.
And a few moments later, several more of these shadowy figures peering in. 4 of them, by counting the numbers of their eyes, looking over.
It's the Terran team.
And one of them speaks and says, "We would like to recruit you."
Oh? Yeah, I'd be all for talking about this. Let's have a conversation instead of an interrogation.
And he says, "We seek to eliminate the other teams. And to this end, we will enlist your help.
Mm-hmm.
And your aid will be very well compensated."
Sure, because you'll be taking it all back when you eliminate us.
And he says, "If you cooperate, there will be no need for that."
Well, what do you know about the people you've been asking us about? We've never heard of these Sultry 7 or the Dukes. We know the Middle Bobs, sure.
And he says, "Who are the Middle Bob Company?"
They're a group of elven merchants. They operate out of... Where was it? I think it was Bytopia, wasn't it?
You say elven merchants?
Yep,
Yeah, she's deliberately misleading him. Yeah, I think it was Bytopia.
Bytopia.
Make a deception check.
Okay. Hang on. Let me look up what my deception thing actually is here. Oh, it's good.
Can she roll it at advantage because Kelian is playing along?
No.
So that's only going to be an 18.
An 18?
Mhm.
The thing reaches down, this clawed, shadowy hand, in between the bars. And he holds his fingers. And as he's drawing them together, Ciclon, you feel the breath choked out of your throat. And you are lifted off the ground by some kind of force. Clawing at your throat, unable to breathe. The thing's eyes narrow in Riot. And says, "Who are the Middle Bob Company?"
All right. They're merchants, but they're dwarves, and they operate out of some prime planet I've never been to yet.
Stop it.
He lifts Ciclon a few more feet off the ground, and he's trying to say, "Riot, stop it!" But the words are... He has no breath in his throat. You feel the pressure on your windpipe. You feel the claws of the thing digging into the sides of your neck. And it says, "This is not a show of force. This is actually happening. Your companion's life is actually in danger. Who are the Middle Bob Company?"
This is a dream. Can't do anything to us here.
And he continues to constrict on Ciclon's throat. Ciclon passes out.
So let's see here. So we're going to be doing the. Is it time for the reincarnation dice? Is that where we're going now?
And you all wake
That's
up
true.
in your rooms, covered in sweat.
Right goes to check on Ciclon.
Ciclon is laying in bed, not breathing.
I'm going to check his pulse.
You reach down to touch his neck, and there's huge red marks around his throat. And you see the places on the side of his neck where these claws pierced into his flesh. He's got a heartbeat, but it's faint. Make a medicine check.
Okay. Do I have any medicine skill? Yeah, a little bit. 14.
14. You've heard stories. You've never seen it firsthand, but you've heard stories of people dying mysteriously in their sleep. Just stop breathing for no reason, no apparent reason. It looks like that's what's happened to Ciclon. He's not breathing now, and in a few minutes he will be dead. Unless something is done.
Hey guys, we need some help. Ciclons need some medical help. And
I'll wake up.
Bang on the door.
Okay. You're banging on the door for the Tri-Drones?
Yeah.
The slat opens up. Little beady eyes look in from the Tri-Drone. And it says...
We need help. A prisoner's dying in here.
Which of the prisoners requires medical assistance?
Ciclon.
And the little slat closes and you hear the footsteps going down the hall.
I wake up and I cast Healing Word on Ciclon.
Okay. Ciclon, his eyes bolt open and he exhales forcibly. How many hit points did that give back?
I don't know.
Remember, you have to spend a hit dice to do this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
D4 plus spellcasting mod.
Thank you. 2 plus 3, 5.
Okay. You give back that many hit points, Ciclon. You're...
I'm at 5 then.
Yep, you're at 0.
I'm at 0?
You were at 0.
you're at 5.
You just got 5 now. That's why you're now conscious again.
Alright. Right, you should have told them nothing.
Sorry. First impulse is just to lie.
Mahogany looks around and says, "You guys got pulled into the Devil World?"
Yeah. They're playing for keeps.
Sorry, I thought it was a dream. You guys told me that you woke up. It was a dream. I didn't think that they could do anything.
Clearly they can, so...
Well, I know that now.
Well,
Sorry.
whoever those fellows are, they're playing for keeps. So
Mahogany hears this and knows exactly what happened.
be careful.
That's not too hard to put together.
So be more careful about what information you volunteer, even if it is a lie.
Yeah, I'll remember that.
The next day is your trial. Does anybody have any intention on causing like a physical scene at the trial? Is anyone gonna pull a Tyrion Lannister at this trial?
You're all out of order.
I demand trial by combat. No.
No.
You call yourselves lawful, you're neutral at best.
The trial is held. You're imagining when Vesterhoff shows back up and she tells you we're going down to the courtroom, that they have authorized for a governor judge to stand in, Judge Isaiah Cowgill. She says Judge Cowgill is fair. He is sympathetic towards Sigillians. She says that he oversees many of the cases that are taken under the Beautification Initiative. Why are you bleeding out of the neck?
We were assaulted in our room. I tried to tell you about it the other day, but you said you weren't interested.
And I'm still not. So,
Shouldn't ask questions then.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
she says, as long as none of you mouth off to the judge or give him cause to be unsympathetic, you're basically in the clear.
Ciclon glares at Mahogany.
Well, she should.
She should glare at Riot.
And nobody glares at Kelian. Perfect.
Nobody glares at the most chaotic man in the room, no. She says that she managed to get the charges knocked down to unlawful disregard of automata reference procedures.
We saw that, thanks.
I
She
feel the
says-
need to.
Go
I
ahead.
feel the need to point out that we just cast magic this morning.
Yeah.
He was dying. It needed to be done.
Don't bring that up to the judge. That's the kind of thing that you don't want to say. This is what we're going to avoid, okay? Any talk of magical dream visitations, we need to put those aside. Any further talk of, yes, we've been casting magic the whole time we've been in it, put that all aside. We're not going to bring that up.
We don't want you to be blindsided in case some weird magic gear thing detects.
Yeah, the last time it was the gear spirits who ratted us out, and I don't know
Yeah, the gear
if
spirits.
they're around.
We're
or
just
not.
trying to give you the information to do your job.
All you need to do to make sure that I do my job is to follow my instructions very closely.
Okay?
So,
What are they?
do we all understand no showing your ass to the judge?
Yes.
Do I
ma'am.
need to have that in writing?
They haven't gotten around to developing a form for that. Don't bring that up to the judge either, or else the Modrons will have a showing your ass form on your next visit to Mechanos.
Oh, can we come back?
She says that in typical circumstances, the charge of unlawful disregard for automatic reference procedures is punishable by execution, but you all do qualify for participation in the Mechanos Beautification Initiative as overseen by the Fraternity of Order.
Excellent.
Worst case scenario,
Okay.
they have you cleaning a gear for a while. Scraping rust, scrubbing metal, removing unwanted vegetation, that sort of thing. That's
Could it
the
be
worst
wood
case
gear?
scenario.
I'd be good at that.
She says, no, don't make any formal requests of the judge. Don't ask for anything.
What's the best case scenario?
Best case scenario would be something along the lines of time served.
Is
any
that
of you
the same
done-
as a worst case?
Have any of you done anything since you arrived on Mechanos that could be construed as furthering the beauty of the plane, that would fall under the auspices of this particular program?
We helped mark gears for travelers to find their way.
Okay, that's not what I asked. That will be seen as defiling gears, and they would not look kindly on that.
Okay, well that's why we're getting this out of the way now.
I put that pair back symmetrically.
Ciclon, did I tell you you had a platinum piece in your hand when you woke up?
Oh no, that went straight in the chamber pot.
Straight in the chamber pot. Gotcha.
Oh, I would have gotten that
Okay.
because Kelian didn't know about it.
And she says that doesn't count. The gears are already clearly marked. If you had not disregarded the automated reference procedures, you would be educated on the manner in which the Mechanist gears are marked, which clearly mark the gears that they're connected to, which clearly serve as a roadmap to travelers to the plane. Of course, you didn't do all that. We know that because you stand guilty of the charge on lawful disregard for automatic reference procedures. So
basically, saying that we mark the guards is basically saying we're guilty of the thing we're charged for.
it's evidence of your guilt, yes.
Okay.
The desire to mark gears will be seen as evidence that you didn't know the gears were already marked. All you need to do is go there, listen to the judge, not say anything, and if anybody asks you any questions, your response is, and this is important, and then she looks at Mahogany and says, slowly, and this is important.
My response is, this is important.
We play... At this point, she says, I'm going to help the rest of you as best I can. And then she exits the room.
Does it involve
Door closes,
does it involve gagging
Key turns.
Mahogany? Please.
What do you all do for the next day?
Well, I don't go back to sleep, that's for sure.
Stay awake?
Yeah.
Okay. 6 or 7 hours after she leaves you there, little slat on the door opens, beady little eyes of the tridrome peering through, and a slip of paper comes through. He hands it through the slat.
I'll take it and read it.
And it says that Vesterhoff has initiated procedures to have Mahogany removed from the courtroom during the time, so as to eliminate any chance of his fouling up the case. But that these procedures will take several days to work their way through the proper channels. But if successful, will increase the chances the rest of you will be not executed.
I like this
Mahogany,
idea. Mahogany, can you
You lucky stiff. You don't have to go to the trial.
Oh, but I wanted
No,
to go to the trial.
Now I wish I'd said more.
I was just doing what she said.
Well, look at it this way. What you've done is an incredible thing. You've contributed to the chances that we will not be executed. And I thank you for that. And let's just count our blessings as they are.
So nobody sleeps that day, correct?
Nope.
Ciclon will.
I'll take the level of exhaustion, but I'm not going back to sleep.
Okay. The second day, does anybody sleep on the second day? If you if you skip 2 days without sleeping, you start accumulating exhaustion. That was a hard
Kelian
sentence
will.
to get out.
Kelian will.
Kelian will sleep? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I'll sleep.
At the end of
Alright,
4 days.
Before sleeping, El Ciclon will go over and say, "All right, so if whoever those assholes were tried this again, stonewall them."
4 days pass, at the end of which Riot, you accumulate 2 levels of exhaustion
Okay.
if you do not sleep.
Then I've got the 2 level exhaustion.
Okay? Nobody else receives visits from the horrible demon pit. Which
Darn.
wasn't that horrible if you think about it. I mean, they were being perfectly accommodating.
Well, no, they were torturing people.
That's
That's no. That's
it's
no.
not it's not really torture. I mean,
El Ciclon almost died. Hey.
and at the end of that time, you receive another message through the door, for the rest of you to gather Mahogany's belongings with you.
Okay.
Kelian shrugs and does so. Without asking Mahogany's permission.
Mahogany, do you attempt to resist giving everybody else your equipment and such?
No,
And
I
gear?
mean, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't even see it most of the time anyway, because it's just part of a bear.
Right. Shortly after that, 2 quadrones arrive at the door, requesting Mahogany's presence.
Alright, I'll show up.
Okay. Mahogany, you're frog marched through this cavernous building. Once again, down stuffy hallways, through narrow doors, up and down elevators. These quadrones are using their arms to manipulate. And you don't have a really good sense of where you're going. I'll let you make an intelligence check to remember the path if you want. DC
Yeah,
is 20. Hey, that's not bad.
No, I fail.
Oh, you fail.
I've
You're not,
got an intelligence of 10.
you're not intelligent.
Aw.
All right. So the only real sense you get is that you're mostly
I'm
going
average.
up. Yeah, you're not intelligent. You're mostly going up. Up and up and up. And eventually, you realize the hallways are getting narrower. And eventually, they bring you to a cell door. The quadrones unlock it, open it, and bid you enter.
Alright, I'll go in.
Okay? And they close it behind you. And for the first time since you arrive on Mechanos, you are enclosed in darkness. The
Well, that's
walls
not very polite.
give off no light. There's no window. In fact, you have trouble even perceiving the cracks in the metal door. They enclose you here. It's not stuffy or hot, though. In fact, if anything, it's a little chilly.
I am going to just sit in front of the door, like just far enough that I won't get smacked with it if it opens again,
Okay.
and meditate.
And meditate.
I'm going to tell Lou about how boring Mechanus is and how he should never come here.
And Lou takes away all of your powers because you went to Mechanis. And he says, that's not a place you should go, and you're clearly the worst. So you're spending the time just in meditation.
Mhm.
Okay. Vesterov comes back for the rest of you later that day. And you have visions of going to one of these like large, ornate courtrooms, but you're actually taken into a room that's probably smaller than the commons in your quarters. An ancient bearded man, like so old that his beard's not even full anymore. Like his beard's giving up. Like if he were to shave it, it wouldn't grow back. That's how old this guy is. Just folds of wrinkly skin covering the features of his face, wearing, like, swimming in these enormous layers and layers of robes. And he's sitting at a table at the front of this room, and he has a stack of paperwork next to him, everything that Vesterhoff brought with her the other day when she spoke to you. And laying on the table, he has a silver gavel. And Vesterhoff brings you all in. The only other entity in the room is a pentadrone. There's nowhere for you guys to sit. Everyone else is standing. And the old man takes his gavel, raps it once against the table, and gets the proceedings underway. They verify that Mahogany is being held for some various type of disconduct, some kind of legalese that Vesterhoff was able to put together, that this charge will have little, if any, bearing on the sentencing, that none of you have been disqualified for the beautification project. But first he addresses the group and asks if a formal request of nullification of association with Mahogany has been processed or will be processed by this group.
I look at Vesterhoff.
So does Kelian.
She's asking if you want to continue to take responsibility for him or if you want to throw him to the wolves.
Oh no, we're his associates.
And he says, "Oh, that's a pity. A pity. Very well. Alright, unlawful discharge of magic. We've got that down to unlawful disregard of automata reference procedures. Could I ask, why did you not want to peruse the reference procedures? Can you not read?" He's just asking the group in general. You're gonna stonewall this guy?
No, I'm thinking about asking him whether or not, if, out of curiosity, if we couldn't read, would someone have been provided to read it to us?
And he's, oh yes, there are governors in Automata who live for that sort of thing.
So you can see how the question
made.
So you can see how the question doesn't apply to our circumstances.
And he looks at Vesterhoff. I never understand when people seeing out forms of entertainment that don't involve perusing the Automata reference procedures. That's a wonderful weekend, wouldn't you agree? And Vesterhoff nods and says, "Yes, Judge, I agree." Very well.
Clearly does not.
To each his own, to each his own. Let's peruse this here too. Unlawful discharge of magic. Now this charge has been brought back. Got down to unlawful disregard of automatic reference procedures. But out of curiosity again, what sort of magicians are you?
Well, I'm a bard.
And he claps his hands together and says,
Licensed member of the College of Lore.
let's have us a song then. And Vesterhoff has that look again, head in hands, just, I don't want this.
She wishes she picked someone else to sit in the room.
What song do you sing?
Let's see. I don't have
Before
any
she
really-
sings
really
a song,
good
are we
songs,
going to get in trouble again for discharging magic if she does?
Let's find out, won't we? Riot.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Well,
sing
no,
a song about stealing gold from Mount Celestia.
Stealing gold from Mount Celestia?
Yep.
And the whole time you're singing, I mean, the judge is just wincing in pain. Like, this isn't music. And at the end of it, he kind of chuckles to himself a little, and he says, well, I did ask. So, the good news is that the court of Modrons is not likely to execute any of you for these crimes. I believe the sentence I will hand down will be covered by the Mackinac Beautification Initiative as placed into procedure by his venerable factal Hashkar. So, and he's going over some paperwork in his hands now. Says, do any of you have any cleaning experience? Washing out dishes, beating out linen, scrubbing chamber pots, that kind of thing?
Well, I do clean at the at a soup kitchen in Sigil.
Yes, very well. This will be a similar thing. Gear number, and then he rattles off many, many digits of binary. This particular gear number, in dire need of de-rusting, so some manner of scraping rust and then scrubbing. You'll be placed in charge by, 2 tri-drones to oversee. No underlings to them. That's odd. They don't consider you to be a very large threat, these Modrons. That's good. You're under their radar, so to speak.
May I ask a question of His Honor?
And he puts, you see, he's giving you his full attention, and in doing so, he puts all the paperwork back down, turns around, kind of clears his throat a bit, and adjusts the bifocals on his face. And once again, Vesterhoff, head in hands, just, why are you doing this? But he's giving you his full attention.
We were originally, although of course wrongly, charged with unlawful discharge of magic. Now, being currently admitting to not having perused the complete set of rules, I ask this out of ignorance: is the discharge of magic in order to complete our beautification duties unlawful?
So you're asking if you don't see this sentence through, is that considered unlawful?
No, if we use magic to help to clean the gear.
And he says, oh yes. So you'll be instructed by 2 Tridrones on the proper method of removing rusts and polishing this particular gear. You, follow the instructions as close as you can. Of course, you will never reach the level of perfection of the Modrons, an art form, polishing gears to the Modrons. Beautiful to watch. They should sell tickets. I would buy tickets. So, if I were you, I would refrain from using magic, at least until you get the all clear from the Modron courts, which I don't believe... Yes, here it is. Has not been granted. Very clearly. Has not been granted. Oh, there's a footnote. Especially to the Genasi. Oh dear. So, that's the sentence is handed down. He takes his gavel and he raps the table once again. Says that the Modrons will take you through the labyrinth to the gear that you are set to polish, and once it is done, the faster you work, the faster you're free. He says that your companion Mahogany will be brought along directly. He'll arrive just after you. And there's one more thing here. It is not an official working of this court, but I can have Vesterhoff get the wheels set in motion for you. And she's shaking her head. No, don't do this. He says, compensation for improper portal calibration from Automata. Compensation for the time and energy that you have spent. Inconvenience that you have undertaken in that the portal in Automata did not put you in the place that you requested. The Kodrashi Sea. That's strange. Oh, not very many visitors go to visit the Kodrashi Sea. But we can get that paperwork filed and have, perhaps in 6 to 8 weeks, you will receive some small compensation for your inconvenience.
Wonderful.
And so he dumps that work on Vesterhoff.
And I pat Vesterhoff from the back and says, don't worry, you can rip that stuff up.
And she says, no, I can't. Vesterhoff takes you guys. You guys have all your stuff, and you have Mahogany stuff. Mm-hmm. And she says, the gear in question is extremely rusty. And we believe there have been sightings of creatures called rust monsters existing on it. And she says, this is a piece of legal brilliance on my part, when I noticed that none of you... you're carrying sticks, and this one's got a big rock club, and this one's got a crossbow, and this one's got a mask. Not carrying metal weapons, I felt you would be the prime candidates to exterminate these monsters before cleaning the gear. Of course, the Modrons can't get near it, and so I was able to grease the wheels, as it were. And she says I would not have been inclined to do this before Mahogany's outburst, so you all owe me a debt of gratitude.
How would you like that repaid?
She says, I would have liked to have it repaid by not having extra work, but that ship has sailed, as it were.
And I'll say again, I don't want the money back. You don't have to file that paperwork.
And she shakes her head and explains that it has nothing to do with what you want.
That's okay, I'll take the money.
Well, if I'm getting it back, then I'm getting it back. But I'm just saying, I didn't want to put you to the work either.
Okay. You guys are taken... you're put in the charge of these 2 Tridrones. Mm-hmm. And he marches away from the Great Tower of Regulus. And once again, you begin navigating the series of kaleidoscopic tunnels. So the first time you go through a tunnel, you come out on what looks to be a kind of empty stone gear, like a great granite gear, connected on both sides by much smaller gears. And looking around, you don't see any large contingents of Modrons. This seems to be another stretch of the plane that is kind of barren, like when you arrived. So my question is, do you kill the Tridrones?
That's really tempting.
It is, but we have no way of getting around
Yeah,
Mechanos without them. We're totally lost, and we need to get back to the Kujash, you see.
Yeah.
Okay. If there is no rebellion, then he does in fact march you to the gears. Mahogany. You meditate for a very long time, and you begin losing sense of time in this cell.
I get it.
Eventually, the door opens, the light from outside blinding in, and a monodrone enters, and he's carrying a wooden cup, and he hands it to you, and it says, "The prisoner will drink."
Mahogany drinks.
And it's this very bitter-tasting fluid. Make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. That's 21.
21?
Yeah.
Okay. And it makes you feel very drowsy and groggy. And after the drink is gone, the monodrone doesn't even collect the cup. It turns and leaves the room. This is the state that you're collected in when a couple of Tridrones come to collect you. And they are a little, I mean, not surprised. Modrons are never surprised, but they didn't expect to see you awake. But they planned for this contingency. What they do is they take you by each hand and begin leading you down one of the hallways. And eventually you start going through the series of kaleidoscopic tunnels. The same kind of traveling that you went through to get here. So do you kill either of these Tridrones?
No, I'm too sleepy.
Too sleepy. Oh, I can't be bothered. Eventually, these guys bring Mahogany to the gear where the rest of you are standing. And he looks very, very tired.
Hey, guys.
The two Tridrones that brought Mahogany here leave. The other two Tridrones, they're stationed here, and they explain that on the underside of the gear, there are a small number of rust monsters still alive, that your job is to dispatch them, and then he motions to the gear you're standing on, which you see patches of rust all over it. And he demonstrates the proper way to use this particular tool to scrape the rust off the gear, and then use this specialized wire brush with this very viscous-looking green cleaning agent to scrub and polish the gear. So, just before we break, I want to load this real quick. This is the best map I've ever made. I really hope this becomes the new forest clearing.
Please, yes. Please, yes. Oh, God, yes.
Please be a giant circle. Please be a giant circle.
It's gear, so it's a giant circle.
Yes!
Yes!
And notice how big the gear is. I had to make
pretty fucking
I
massive.
had to make the squares smaller.
Yeah.
4
Wow.
times as much volume on this map.
You better shrink down our guys.
Yeah, we're gonna just shoot down.
Oh
our
yeah, I
guys.
made sure they would shrink. I made sure that you can go down that small. And you can. We can get you in there. So, I mean, the gear is enormous, and the way that they're scrubbing and the manner in which they're scrubbing, each one of these squares will take one of you about 2 hours of work to properly
Wow.
clean and polish. And at the end of this time, and they want you to get the teeth and all the spaces between the teeth as well, get all the grout where these giant bolts meet the head of the gear, and once it is polished to the Tridrone's satisfaction, they will send you on your way.
Shouldn't we kill the rust monsters first?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's part of the cleaning.
Okay.
There was a much larger nest of rust monsters, and he indicates a large rusty spot on this gear. Let's just call it like here-ish, where a hole was bored into the center of the gear by rust monsters. A small contingent of Modrons have already taken care of that. Modrons do have some difficulty fighting against rust monsters, but it is possible for them to do. Usually the hierarchs have to get involved, because they're the ones that have spellcasting abilities. They don't have to actually get down in the melee with them. So, and so that's already been done, and a small repair group has already been in to repair the hole. The gears do have some self-repairing capacity over long periods of time. So that part's been done. So this patch of rust is covering up this area where a hole was bored in. But the rust monsters retreated to the backside of the gear, and if they're not taken care of, this process will just start again. And Vesterhoff noted that none of you guys use metal weapons or wear metal armor, and thought you would be the perfect candidates for this job. Let's take a... How does a 10-minute break strike, everybody?
Sounds legit.
Alright, so we'll reconvene at 4:55. And when we do, we got some combat against rust monsters. Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, I was planning on talking them down.
You're planning on what? Whoops. Look at that on screen
Knocking
there.
down the rust monsters.
Maybe we can convince Mechanos to just get rid of this gear.
You suppose that'll work?
They don't need this, right?
this one gear. The rest of them you need.
You've got an infinite number of others, so infinity minus 1 is still infinity.
Ah, but they're all connected in a particular way, so if you remove this one, half the plane will shut down.
Yeah, but half of the plane is still infinity.
I look forward to you making this case against the rust monsters. So yeah, I'll be back in 10 minutes, guys. Go get your snaglins.
All right, be right back.